For so long, we've been here, we've been trying to break.
Hi there, welcome to another interactive, fun-filled edition of the Springboard Hangout. The Springboard Hangout, as you know, is an opportunity for us to hang out with each other to find out, answer some questions that are burning about us, and most importantly, for us to meet new friends. You know, today we are starting a new series, Women on the Go. And in this series, we will showcase some ladies who are just kicking things up and making it really, really wonderful. We are blessed to have today in the studio with us. We have Yvonne Tamakloe and Cynthia Ofori-Dwomfuo. And I'll come with their detailed introductions when I come back. But before I go, you know that Maya Angelou says that a woman in harmony with her spirit is like a river flowing. She goes where she will without pretense and arrives at her destination prepared to be herself and only herself. Today's guests, Yvonne and Cynthia, are just themselves. And we will see that when we go into this. And most importantly, when you bring in a marketing guru, communications, experiential marketing, there is no conversation that is better than how we can grow our individual businesses and our brands. So I beg you, with the mercies of God, don't move. Don't go anywhere. Stay here with us. I'll be very obliged to you if you call a friend, ask a person to join today's conversation. And then also, I would also encourage you, kindly tell us, where are you joining us from so that I can give you a shout out. My name is Comfort Okran, and as usual, it's going to be a wonderful evening this evening. Don't go anywhere.
Get me York's rent-a-car. I need a car in 15 minutes. Hi, I'm Jake Morris, and I travel globally. But when I'm in Ghana, York's Rent-A-Car is my reliable choice for safety and comfort on the road. York's Rent-A-Car provides comprehensive logistics services to mainly blue-chip companies as well as individual clients.
At a time, we needed a car rental service, and York's fitted in very well to our standards.
Their services is top-notch. Drivers are on time.
It was beautiful to see them behind the wheels. And anytime they pick up a guest, the guests were very, very happy.
Already? Excellent. York's Rent-A-Car provides services and expertise that include meet and greet services at the airport, car rental, driver personal outsourcing, and vehicle detailing. What's the problem? It's you. I told you. York's Rent-A-Car delivers world-class service to its customers, having their highest safety and comfort in mind. So watch you. Go of us are open for him. York's Rent-A-Car runs 24/7 operations where customers can make car reservations and inquiries of our services online and also call our hotline.
Highly spiritual.
I call on you, Chikenu, always there for me, Lord, you are good. I call on you, Chikenu, always there for me, Lord, you are good.
Yawa, you no go do me, yawa. Yawa, you no go do me, yawa, Lord, you said in Isaiah, you never sleep, you know the tire. Lord, it's you that I desire. Anything you do, you know fi play. Yeah. You no go do me, yeah. Yeah. You no go do me, yeah. No, yeah. You no go do me, yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. You no go do me, yeah. And there are times that I feel lonely. Yeah. And there's no one to help, no one to hold me, yeah. But you're faithful to the end, Lord. So you answer when I pray. trust in you, not to lotto. Faith is what drives me, not to motto. I praise you, God, I bow. I go to anything that you want, I take it from my bottom. Put my trust in you, not to lotto. Faith is what drives me, not to motto. I praise you, God, I bow. I go to anything that you want, I take it from my bottom. You know if you give up on me, oh yeah, oh yeah.
He's a
When you have people who have magic in creating their success, there's only one way that you can describe the engagement: scintillating. So let's dive right in. We have to my immediate right, we have Yvonne Tamakloe. Yvonne Tamakloe is the CEO, the one and only CEO of Top Dog Africa Limited. Yeah. She is runs an events and planning company called House of Says. I wonder, okay, we'll find out about that. And then she also has an NGO, Top Dog Foundation. You know, she pioneered the door-to-door delivery of food, of goods during the COVID-19 lockdown, and that helped many people. And we'll find out about that. And then also she's done, when they say, you know how, please look at, please can we focus on her outfit? She did a top-notch rhythms on the runway show, and it was named as one of the biggest ever. So, ladies, I mean, today's conversation is a rich conversation. And then right next to her, you saw Cynthia looking all chic. This is Cynthia, who is the head of marketing and corporate affairs at Hollard, Ghana. She is a marketing communications professional. As if that were not enough, she has done the full gamut of advertising. So today we'll start from the beginning, go to the end, and we'll go through the middle. We'll do marketing back and forth. And she holds an MA in professional communication from Clemson University in USA. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us, and let's dive right in. We had a fantastic time whilst we were getting ready for today's meeting. Yep. And the hangout promises to be really, really top. So let's start with you, Yvonne.
Yes.
Who is Yvonne?
Yvonne is passionate. Yvonne is creative. And Yvonne is driven. My favorite question, I think, is how can we? So it's one challenge after the other, discovering new things about yourself and just challenging yourself on a daily basis. I think that would be who I am in general. And then on top of that, I am a mom and a leader by default. And a child of God. That's a big part for me, very important part for me. So I think that is who I am.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. We'll find out more about you.
Yes.
So Rosie, this is setting the stage for us. Let's hear about Cynthia.
No problem.
Cynthia, yes please. Cynthia,
Yes.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, she talked about being passionate. I think I can steal that as well. I am definitely a passionate person. I'm very passionate about everything that I do. I am a storyteller by profession, a creative, but also really not just by profession. I think that's really who I am in my personal life as well. I love to engage people. I have a background working in various aspects of marketing and communications, and I've been privileged to work across the world with some really fantastic people. In my spare time, I like to really enjoy life. I definitely believe in working hard and playing hard as well.
Fantastic.
And I love to spend time with my family and friends and to take adventure trips and just to really live in the moment. So I'd say that's who Cynthia Ofori-Dwomfuo is. Yeah.
Very simple, very very, very strongly said.
Right.
Oh, and there's so you can see Cynthia on the screen, and that is one beautiful outfit. I
Yeah,
love it. I love
very.
it, Cynthia. Thank you for showing us fashion, and this is you and you were a test speaker.
Yeah, so actually for the TEDx Accra Women, I was a moderator for the show.
Okay.
For the whole event.
Okay.
So just some snippets of my
Of
life.
you
In action.
on the TED
Yeah.
show. Okay, so if we take Yvonne, you've been in the field for the past
2003 till date.
2003 till date.
Yes, I think about September.
What led you into marketing?
I think it found me, and I enjoyed the relationship. So once upon a very long time ago, yeah, that's a good one from way back, in Legon, somewhere in level 200, I was looking for things to do beyond academia, because I learn by engaging. I do not absorb as much from reading as I do from doing. And so I was looking for some activity that would challenge me and give me new experiences. So, driven by my friend Rosetta Aite, Chocho Aite, I'm sure she's probably watching this, she came and said, you know, and she calls me Tibor. That's the way she pronounces my surname.
Tibor, so please keep that in the yeah, go on.
Yeah, she called me Tibor. So she's like, Tibor, can't we go and do something about this Miss Legon? You know, I've been listening to them and they said they've always had it on campus. And I'm like, what? How can a big school like Legon have a big event like that and it's always on campus? So we're like, okay, let's do this. High fives, and then we set out looking for sponsorship, writing our version of what we thought was an event plan at the day, visiting people like ATL, getting sponsorship, and I believe, arguably, it was the first time Miss Legon left Legon campus, and it was held in National Theatre. And we almost filled the hall, but it took us 3 days of not bathing. We slept.
Tell us about that one.
So, number one, our printers nearly messed us up, and because we were not comfortable with the industry, we slept at Newtown. Because we had to get the tickets printed, because we had tickets booked, but we had to get them printed. And the tickets came with a brochure, our version of what a brochure was then. So it wasn't turning around quickly. There were issues with the print, and we decided if we leave and we go to Legon and we come back the next day and this thing is not done, we don't know what we are going to do. And Rosetta is quite an adrenaline junkie like myself, so we decided we were staying awake at the print house until this was done. So we got that out, and then the next thing was set up at the conference center, and it was a very rude exposure to the expectation of sponsors.
Yeah.
I want this, I don't want that. There was ABL, there was ATL, the battle for branding tips. We're like, okay, so we're not going to go and dress up after all. This is it. Let's just roll with this. And so I would say I haven't looked back since. After level 400, on recommendation on one of my lectures, I went to write for the junior graphic on a UNFPA project where I had to do a 4-page pull out on teen reproductive health. So I did that for a while. And then Larry Atipo said, Mauli Oklu, who I know now that you know, had an agency, and it was becoming more and more important to do experientials as part of the research finding and outcomes for focus group discussions, what young people wanted to do with the brand. And so somebody had to take all of this information from a piece of paper and turn them into experientials for people. At the time, there was barely anybody to look up to in the space, and so you learn as you go. And that's how I met my husband as well, who's Mauli's brother.
They call it job with benefits.
Exactly. No, it's called Integri Prosidamos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, bon tenir tuaso. That's the tree interpretation for Lagos.
Integri Prosidamos.
Yeah, bon tenir tuaso.
Oh, okay. We always learn on the hangout.
So yeah, that's how that started, and I haven't looked back since. I was blessed to work with somebody like Tuchigoka, and it's been on the road producing Nescafe African Revelations across Ghana, across West Africa. So pretty much I haven't looked back since.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I know that Cynthia was more step by step. So she made sure that she first finished this one and then went to do another course, and then she got a job. Cynthia, I'm sure that was how yours was.
I wish.
Okay, then tell us yours.
So I would also say that I kind of fell into it. So much like you.
Before you continue, that means that, those of us who still haven't discovered what we really want to do, where we want to go, there's hope.
Yeah.
Don't feel that the end of the world is here because you really don't know which way you are leaning.
Yes.
Because Cynthia will tell us.
Absolutely, and that was exactly my story. I mean, by the time I finished university, my first degree was in economics.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to be a management consultant. I mean, I had my life figured out in some ways, but then the truth was I couldn't really be certain that was who I was. So I just I think everything fell in place at some point because I traveled, I did some work, came back, did my national service again. And, by the time that I realized, I was gravitating towards marketing communications just by doing the things that I was good at.
Okay.
So oftentimes, young people think that they should be so certain. I mean, apart from management consultant, I also thought I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a journalist. I had a whole list, to be honest. I had a whole list. And what I discovered along the way was that as I started to do things that I was really good at, I actually started being more and more successful.
Yeah.
So one thing I realized was I couldn't work in a bank like my friends because routine was not my life. So I quickly realized that my love for, creativity, my love for new things, for, just having a challenge was so vital to me. And, after I did my national service, for instance, at the Ministry of Communications, which was fantastic for me in terms of learning how to just, engage with the public sector, understand the workings of the public sector. Yeah. And way before that, I'll be honest with you, my journey, my actual working journey, my career started long before that, if I'm really honest with you, because
when did it start?
When I finished uni, I went to beg for a job at Woodin.
Okay.
Actually, when I finished SS, I went to beg for a job at Woodin. Right. SS. Not uni, SS.
Yeah. Okay.
I went to beg for a job at Woodin. I took a trotro and I went to the Woodin office at Tema to say that I really have to be a sales girl in your shop at Osu. I didn't get the Osu store, but what I did get, I got the trade fair. So what happened was I did trade fair for I think two different sessions.
This is you at SS?
Yes, this is me at SS.
Okay.
I was girls prefect, so I was trying to be serious. As head prefect by that time, I was trying to represent well. But so after SS, that's where the journey began. And because my family was very encouraging, I explored a lot of things. I tried to see if I could get into radio, for instance. So that's where it started from. Then when I went to uni, it's always been who I am. I've been very active in school. I've always participated in so much. Yeah. So anybody who went to tech with me, will tell you that I was all over the place. So you even see sports. Throughout my university career, I did a lot on campus, but I also spent all my summers working. Okay. So that also helped me in determining my career down the line because I would we used to call Boba job. You travel, find money, you go and work in the UK. I have done it all. I mean, sometimes I tell people that you don't know where I've been. I don't look like where I've been. I have done security, which is the funniest thing I've ever done because I was very skinny wearing a security jacket, feeling very cool.
Which one is this one?
This is one of my adventure activities. I love to take time to be adventurous. But so I did a lot. I did all the beggar flipping, the till, and all of those experiences taught me so much about how to really just manage, in terms of manage activations, manage things on the ground. I mean, I did some wedding catering, wedding waitressing, and it's so funny because when I look back at it, it's almost like wow. But then at the time, I didn't realize that those were character building experiences, and they were leading me to where I was going to be.
Right.
So eventually, in the UK, after uni, after doing every summer working. After uni, but of course the working was good because when you come back to school, you have money, you have pounds to melt. You have money in your pocket. All the midnight working, cleaning, mopping the floors for the Burger King and the McDonald's. I did it all. Burger King, McDonald's. I used to work at the till, and then you have to clean the floors and everything. But all of that. When I finished school, I moved to the UK, tried to get into a bank, actually. So that's when I realized that it wasn't going to work out. Ended up in a pharmaceutical company. But it was also a really good experience because I was liaising and I was doing interactive work that taught me how to just work with inventory. And then, of course, after that, my marketing journey started after national service when I got into a management consulting firm. In that firm was where I realized my creative side. In fact, my boss, PMC, Phyllis Maria Christian, was very vital because she said, you're a very creative person. And at the time, I hadn't realized that everything I was doing was marketing related. So I started ending up doing most of the marketing communication aspects. And then I went to do my master's. And then after that, it's been one agency after another to another, to, you know, so many communications aspects.
Fantastic. So then, in both of you, what I hear from you is that yes, indeed, it's good to know, if you are very good, to know where you're going to, but then the opportunity to experience different aspects and see which one suits you best helps you fall into what you are passionate about, and based on that, you excel in what you do. So therefore, you would look at you from the marketing perspective, and we look at you from the communications perspective. I hope you agree. So as a marketing personnel or a professional, what are the key things that you should do or you do?
I think fundamentally you are one thing. You're a problem solver.
Problem solver.
Yes. You're a problem solver, and everything else falls under that. Meeting targets of different kinds depending on what you're trying to sell and to whom. So I think one of the biggest things you need in this space is to be extremely open-minded, because you wake up every morning with a blank slate, because yesterday is gone. You have no idea what you're going to do today. Especially from the agency point of view, you don't, when your phone rings next or you get an email in your inbox, you have no control of what sector, what industry, what profile of consumers your next brief is going to ask you to deal with. So today, as I speak to you, I have had conversations about pharmaceuticals and trying to rebrand and reposition drugs for erectile dysfunction. I've had that conversation today. Then I've had conversations about flavored yogurts today. And then I have had conversations today, about branding a fuel station.
Different things, different sectors. So you can't even say that I can't afford to understand what the fuel sector requires or the oil and gas sector requires as against the pharmaceutical sector, as against the last.
Exactly.
You need to know your people, your consumer.
So it's a life of perpetual learning. And you need to be very quick and agile, because even though the person who's coming to you has a problem they need you to solve, and they supposedly know what they're dealing with, you're supposed to go back to them with a solution they hadn't thought about. So then how do you go and dig deep enough to come back with something that's creative, compelling, and differentiated enough that someone whose day job is that job hasn't thought about yet? And for the record, like Cynthia, I've been through it. Like I come from a long line of creatives. So I've apprenticed in a hairdressing salon. I have sewn. My mother cooks. And so I've catered. And so today when you say conferencing and you're telling me about 300 guests and different diet profiles, it comes to me naturally, but then until we have a conversation like this, you don't realize how far back those skill sets were built.
So what do we say to those who think that it's only when you work in a blue chip company that you build skills that are relevant in the workspace? Cynthia, so I'm just telling you that, look, anywhere that you work, whether it is at home, where you are serving, where you are providing solutions, or it is you have the opportunity to be in a really structured workspace, there's always an opportunity to learn. But the main thing is that you must make yourself available
absolutely
to learn those lessons. Anyway, Cynthia, so then we've heard from the advertising marketing side, and we are doing the communication. So she's had to work in different places, but you, apart from you having had the opportunity to work for different clients, you are now focused on one client, Pollard. What makes it different working for one organization and then working for an agency which serves different organizations? What makes your communications sharp?
Wow, that's a great question. And I can tell you that, yes, they are very different things. At agency, I have had the privilege to work on very different sectors. You don't have that when you come to corporate side. Now, what happens at corporate side is, thankfully, because I have that variety of experience and that exposure, what it means is that I'm able to bring that exposure of experience to bear on what we are doing at Holland. So now it means I'm just focusing, it's a tunnel, it's a funnel. I'm focusing all my efforts onto this one brand. And thankfully, the brand is a very vibrant and flexible brand. So it's enabled me to do more with it, to go, to push the envelope, to look outside the box, to effectively take the learnings I've had from, for instance, mining. And like Yvonne said, today you're doing mining, tomorrow you're doing something else. All of that has enabled me to do better at corporate side. So I'll tell you that one of the things I often tell young corporate communications people is, I tell them that if you can, work in an agency for maybe just 2 years. Because when you work in an agency, the variety of experience gives you so much. It gives you so much skills that you will use that is valuable for your future job at corporate side. Whereas when you're at corporate side very early on, you're not exposed to different aspects of communication. You may also be limited to one way of thinking because your thinking may be skewed towards the industry that you're specifically in. So the advantage of people who work in, across the spectrum is that they have that understanding and that knowledge. So when they focus, it means that they are better able to understand why they are being strategic about certain things and what the dynamics are and how those dynamics play into the decisions they make. So at Holland, when I make a decision about, what type of activation we want to run, where we want to be, or just even the strategic outlook of the brand for the next 3 years, I'm making it keeping in mind the understanding that I know where we sit in the space, in that insurance space, and how we interact with all the other industries. Because the truth is, our customers are other people's customers. So in as much as I'm competing with my competitors, I actually tell people that my competition is not just people in the insurance industry, it's also people who, take up the money and time and space of our target customers. So I would definitely say that I am enjoying focusing, but I can definitely say that I've benefited from that variety of experience that I'm bringing in, just even the types of experience from the various channels, digital, PR, creative, all of that comes to be events, organizing and activations. I know that not sleeping thing and chasing people in new town.
I know.
I understand.
And the phone being off.
Oh, indeed. Calling people. Oh, my goodness. And even carrying things down streets. I understand. Whatever you have to do to get it done. It's even the mindset, I would add. That mindset of get it done no matter what. That agency lifestyle, I think because agency is so intense.
Yeah.
By the time it's rigorous, by the time you leave that experience, you don't even realize it, but you become this person who knows how to do things, whether or not the solution is immediately apparent. Like you said, you are trying to find solutions. And I mean, for me, it's also about storytelling. So that's another conversation altogether.
Definitely. That is definitely another conversation. And we having such a time is flying. It's now time for our game changer segment, and therefore we'll have a quick game changer. And let's listen to what Jojo has for us, or as his Twitter handle says, or Dwomfuo has for us today on the game changer.
How do you turn your song into a smash hit? Do you pay for radio play, reach out to playlisters, or hand out mixtapes on the street? Well, if your Nigerian music stars have made fortunes from being funny, brands such as Wendy's, Old Spice, and Coffee Lounge regularly crack jokes and laugh straight to the bank. But why does humor work so well? It's simple. Humor makes your brand relatable, memorable, and shareable. And the stats back this up. Since the start of the pandemic, 58% of customers prefer ads that make them laugh. So as you build your brand, don't forget humor, because being funny makes money. This has been the Game Changer with Jojo Okran. Have a phenomenal week.
Fantastic, Jojo. I like the fact that it's memorable, shareable, and it makes you want to indulge. And I think, would that tie in with your experiential marketing? I just want to find out from you, Yvonne.
Yes, very much so. I think earlier on we were having a conversation about identifying what people's tensions are, what people's need states are, and responding to that. So I am sure this musician figured out that there was a lot of tension, a lot of stress, a lot of people who have had it, and the way to be different, to stand out of the clutter, was to make people laugh, because everybody's having so much bad news over the last 2 years that it's important to give people something they don't have and not add on to what they have too much of. So I remember a story from an activation we had for one of our brand clients in Medina specifically. And before we had hit the ground, we had conversations about what kind of prizes to give for a consumer promo. We went round the block, a house, a car, all the big ticket things that would have made a lot of noise. And then we said, you know, let's try breaking down this big budget into small wins of token amounts of money, what seemed to us like tokens. But as one of the things as a BTO or experiential agency is that you need to have your finger on the pulse of your consumers.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Is that only for BTL, by the way, is below the line marketing?
Yes.
So then that one is more direct to the consumer.
Exactly.
So is it only good for big brands, or young companies can also adapt to this?
No, everybody really. If you don't understand your consumer, then you don't know who you're selling to, and you will be creating the wrong solutions. There'll be a big misfit between the solutions you're selling and the people out there, and you're going to be frustrated that people are not buying. But it's just because you're not selling what they need.
So in this case, how did you? I mean, continue with your story.
Okay, so here we were, the battle between give a big prize that will give us headlines, or break it down and give people things they need now, answer the need state today. So we got the permission of the client to try this, and let's see how it works. So you make a transaction, you buy, you get into a draw, and then you win. And we were giving away 50 CDs, 100 CDs. So there was a woman who was so excited. She tried once, didn't win, tried again, then she won 50 CDs. Nice one. And she was fantastic.
Yeah.
And we're like, why? What's the story? What is this going to do for you today? Also, Mwajimi Fufu, Banche 10 CDs, Brodier 10 CDs, Meto chicken 1 kilo, ni akoko kakra, no ma wo fufu, and then kra no minimum yebedi fufu. We're like, okay, here is our reality. Then there was another guy who was selling jeans, false jeans, around the banks in Medina. He came, he tried, he won 200 CDs. What are you going to do? Perfect. Oh, maybe ton jeans. Your money besa. Into me the way back on my coffee. That's all. And at that point, you've become a lifelong, memorable, shareable. It's not digital, but it's even more powerful, word of mouth.
Yes.
This is what this brand did for me.
Yeah.
They are the reason why my sales have increased,
Yeah.
or they are the reasons why I had a good meal with my family today.
Right.
And that bond is built. And there's not much that you can do to take that away. It's done. It's stuck.
It's done, it is stuck.
Yeah.
So in this case, if I am an upcoming brand,
Yes.
let me please, I beg you, forgive me today. I've not shared your stuff, but here we are. We have Janice Nkwamil saying that Yvonne is simply unstoppable. and Charlotte, thank you for listening from Tema Community 25. You are awesome. Thank you for being there. And Thomas Thompson Intigbe, who is a scholar, says that my eyes are glued.
Nice one.
Yes, yeah. And then Promise Fiajibe says, good evening, ladies. I'm listening to you live from Shaman, Lebanon. And Promise, the other day, unfortunately, I got the news that Promise your father passed, and our sincerest condolences from the studios. I believe that as we go on, you share more with us as it goes on. Fantastic. So we continuing this program, and you are on the Springboard Hangout, and we are hanging out live today with Yvonne and Cynthia. Yvonne is with Top Dog Africa, and Cynthia is with Hollad Ghana. She's the head of communications, and this is the chief Oga Madam herself for Top Dog Africa. Fantastic. Yeah. So then here we are, and we've seen what how marketing and understanding what the heartbeat of your client is, so that you can offer those marketing things that help the person connect with your brand.
Exactly.
But with you, if you've connected with the brand, and then the person says, okay, I want to work with only you, how do you ensure that you always, your marketing or what you are selling meets what you are saying?
Yes.
Matches what you are selling. How can we avoid the issue of overpromise or saying things that your marketing says things? How does that affect a brand negative? Let me say, how does it affect a brand?
Absolutely. Now that's why it's important for marketers to be fully plugged into the business. If you're not fully plugged into the business, you would come out selling a story, selling a brand that is not exactly accurate. So you always have to understand where the business is at, what the changes are in terms of the product, and how it's being managed, and how customers interact with the product. So if you have that understanding, you're better able to craft a story that makes sense and not to oversell. Because like you said, the worst thing to do is oversell, sell an unrealistic thing, and people come in and their experience is completely off.
Yeah.
So there's that understanding that there's that connection between the customer experience and then the story that you're telling, and how you're telling it, and where you are interacting with those customers. So it's absolutely vital. And for me as well, what's important is after telling the story, after doing the marketing, after doing the advertising, it doesn't end there. There's also that sustained thing where you go back, you're talking about customer experience, you're engaging customers. It's not just, oh, let me throw the information out there. It's also, what do people think? How are they interacting with the information? If it's not working, do we need to tweak? And those are actions that you need to take as a marketer. If you're not plugged into the business and you sit on the side,
it ain't gonna work.
It's not going to work. It wouldn't influence bottom line. And we all know that at the end of the day, bottom line is important. You have to show your value by understanding the business and being useful and valuable. So at some point in time as a marketer, you would find that you would have to advise the business and say, this is the feedback we are getting from our customers or our target audiences. This is how they are interacting with our products or our service. And then say, I trust that, we have everything going. However, we need to explore this and explore that. So that, just even that ability to perceive comes from, being a skilled communications person or a skilled marketer, because you are always in tune with how people feel, with how your target audiences feel. You literally have to experience what they experience in order for you to do a great job. So I tell people that they won't believe it, but I actually sometimes take trips because I love adventure. I can take trips. Recently, I think a year ago, before COVID, I took a trip with one of my friends. We called it Journey to the North. We took a backpacking trotro trip through the north to Burkina Faso. And someone would say, that's crazy. Why did you do that? And I was explaining that, you know, the value is in the experiences. There's something about sitting in a trotro with the goats behind your back, you know, and somebody squeezing with their child, almost putting their child on you. And then just the smell of Kobe. And you know, at a certain point, sometimes you lose that. That's the truth. You sit in an air-conditioned car, you've been working, you've been doing fancy campaigns, you lose that understanding. So as a marketer, it's good to connect and sometimes just observe. You know, so you're not just observing on social media and, you know, scrolling through pages, but you also have to get out there. So I tell people that, you know, sometimes too, you have to go out, have fun, because all those interactions influence. You can't come back and tell your business that I don't think this is working if you don't understand it, if you don't understand how people are engaging with it. So through and through, it's absolutely vital that a marketer can be that important connection, and it doesn't end at the advertising and then the storytelling stage. It has to continue beyond that so that we don't oversell, and you make sure that even at a point where customers are not getting what they want, you're able to come up with quick solutions and influence the business decision making.
You'll be able to influence the business decision making. And I tell you, this conversation is a very important conversation. The Women on the Go series is being done in partnership with Executive Women's Network, EWN. And so now we'll swing our lenses a bit to what is going on in our ladies' space. Our ladies' space in terms of the fact that we have... when I go to social media, I observe sometimes some images that seem to disconnect. It's still communication. It seems to disconnect from who the person, I think the person is. The person has an image, and sometimes they feel, some people feel obliged to project a certain lifestyle that is not realistic with where they are presently. I would like to know that kind of projection, personal projection, in terms of marketing yourself. Is it good? Should we fake it till we make it, or should we be focused more on delivering some value that help me, because I'm such a lay person sometimes. You have to help me. Help me, my sister.
Personal branding is a whole specialization. It's not a thing that I would claim to have, but with regards to, and that's one of the beautiful things I enjoy about EWN, because I'm surrounded by so many people who have walked these streets and have experiences to share. And at this point, I want to shout out Janet and so far. They've been amazing. But this thing about faking it's a big problem. I think it strangles you as a young person coming up, because it puts you in a corner where you are unable to ask for help. Because you've postured in a certain way that leaves everybody assuming or presuming that you are of a certain disposition. And so even if they were just thinking out of the goodness of their heart of people to help, you're not going to come up on that list, because you've postured as though you have it all, you know it all, you've arrived. So it blocks help from coming to you, and because of the embarrassment that you would face, you are also unable to reach out for help. And I feel like that's a suicide mission. Yes, it's one of the easiest way to die. That's what I make of it. I think it's one of the easiest ways to die, because you posture as though you were everything and all that. You always have a fantastic car in the background. You're always displaying a designer handbag. that somebody who's worked 25 years has just bought their first one off, and you are 25 and you have it, and so okay, I'm thinking of recruiting, but this girl crash, she's rich. I don't think I can afford her. So that's the end of that conversation in my mind about you, because you're out of my league. You know, so I think we displace ourselves a lot by being that way. This whole fake lives on the gram life. And in my nightlife, I do weddings. It's amazing the kind of things people want.
Yeah.
And when you give them the bill, then
for the gram,
you know, somebody came to me once and said, "How much will something like the Kensi wedding cost?" And I'm like, "Okay, this is a whole different ball game.
Okay,
let's wait. Let's put together." Just from my walking the streets and not putting an estimate together, do you have like $100,000? It's like, oh, sir. Like, yes,
and
sir.
more.
And more.
Sir.
Exactly. So we need to be true to ourselves. We are dying slowly. We are getting bottled up. We are doing all kinds of outrageous things because we are building unnecessary pressure on ourselves, I think.
When you have a tough question to ask and your time is up, what do you do?
You sneak it in. You sneak it in.
Okay. So, Cynthia, in this case where we have, so how do we let reality? How do we ensure that we are real to who we are?
Okay, so I think we should look at it two ways. The first way is we need to look at the word authenticity.
Authenticity.
What people need to keep in mind is that nowadays the people who excel online or digitally or have personal branding that resonates are people who are authentic. Now, authenticity means that you're not just pretending and being fake. You're being real. You're presenting yourself. You're presenting who you are in different spheres of your life. You are actually creating stories, telling stories, and sharing stories that resonate with the people that find you influential. So understanding that and need to be authentic in itself is one way of growing your influence and your reach on one hand. Now, on the other hand are the people who consume all of this. Right? The people who get influenced by the shiny stuff. You know, even for you as a person consuming this stuff, you also have to understand that the world is not what you see it at any point in time. Understanding that people's authentic stories, for maybe an influencer who makes money by taking bikini shots, their authentic story in that moment is about what we say, securing the bag. And for her authentic story in that moment is to take bikini shots to secure her bag, because that's how she's discovered she's making money. And understanding that as a consumer of that content, knowing that that does not define and that does not definitely mean that every day she's hanging out in a fancy beach, at a fancy beach, or she's not always living with the designer stuff. Just knowing and understanding that the world is not what you are seeing, because we are living in a very visual world and you can't always take things at face value. That knowledge will help you to move effectively through life, through this highly visual culture that we are currently in. And whether it's online and even offline now, you know, because nowadays whatever's happening online is moving offline as well. Reason why people are asking for Ken City weddings. You know, if you really understand that somebody else's story, you won't be asking to replicate that. So that's sneaking in the answer.
Thank you very much. You did a fantastic job. Thank you, Cynthia, Ofori-Dwomfuo, for being with us. And then Yvonne, Tamakloe, thank you so much. I mean, you've made our evening so much fun, and yet so filled with marketing germs that we can't just throw, we have to use. So, dear listener, thank you so much for being with us. And viewers, you know this program will show on would be on ETV, and we definitely would make a time to be with you as well. I would like to thank Reverend Okran. Do watch out for the Springboard Virtual University this Sunday. It will have Reverend Patricia Sako, who is our guest for that. And I would like to thank my phenomenal technical team for making this one another beautiful show. Thank you, EWN, for
Can I sneak that in?
loving us.
Thank you, EWN.
Yes.
Just even for showing us what is possible. I love the women there.
Yes.
Such inspiration.
Yes.
Up and coming women.
You do all.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be
Indeed.
part of EWN, just reach out to this year is going to be our 5th anniversary. So till we meet next week again with another powerhouse lady. This time from Nigeria. See you. Have a phenomenal week, and we love you. Bye.
He's always turning around.
Whoa, whoa. Turn around.
Turning point. Yeah. He's always turning around. For so long, we've been here. We've been trying to break free. Chains that hurt us in our minds, but no more. This is a turning point. No more searching. The light has come. He's a return around. Come on, turn around. No delays. Time to move on. Time to move on. He's a return around. Where we are, where we going, wrong decisions, wrong direction. Time to make the right changes. Whoa, come on, Africa, this is the turning point. No more searching.